Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Norway. We're going to go to a really small but very pretty town called Florø, and that place is home to Kinn Bryggeri. So tonight we're going to have a taste of the Rosa Kinn, which is a fruit beer, and I've not tried a fruit beer on the channel for you in a really long time actually, so quite cool that I can find one from Norway, and I really do enjoy the Norwegian beer, so hopefully I can do quite a few more of these reviews for you in the near future. But anyway, as always with my reviews then, I'll take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery. Will only be a minute or so long, but if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All of the usual websites are in the video description below. The brewery website, the link to my hopefully future reviews from Kinn Bryggeri, and also the Facebook page for the channel and the Untappd profile, so feel free to connect with me in whatever way you wish. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. So anyway, as I told you, Kinn Bryggeri are based in the town of Florø on the island of Florø in Norway, and it's about halfway between Bergen and Molde, and it's a small town of I think about 8,000 people, and it's a little bit of a hub for the fishing and also for the oil industry as well, but it's actually the most western town in Norway and thus in Scandinavia too, and apparently it's actually further west than Amsterdam and things, which I was really quite surprised at when I read that. But quite an interesting little town anyway, and some of the pictures of this place are really beautiful, so do go and check it out if you find yourself in Norway. But anyway, Kinn Bryggeri was founded back in 2009 by beer enthusiast and homebrewer Espen Lote, and I do apologise when I'm doing this video if some of the Norwegian pronunciations aren't quite right, but most of the beers that Espen produces are either Belgian or English styles, and the beers are apparently all produced in open fermenters too, which is a little kind of interesting point about the brewing process that they have. But originally these beers were only available in Norway, but the addition of a new bottling line and extra capacity has meant that these beers have started to be exported to Finland and to Sweden in early 2015 as well. I bought this one in my local System Bolaget, and this beer review is being filmed for you in the middle of September 2015. So I got this beer, I saw it was from Norway and it looked quite interesting, so I thought, well, I'll just get this one and give it a go. So should be an interesting one. But the brewery slogan translates to "We do it the old way" into English, and the labels portray Ivar Asen, who apparently helped produce a national Norwegian language from all the various dialects. And the Danish, apparently Danish used to be the universal language of Norway, but really Ivar actually was the one who sort of united the Norwegian language. It's quite an interesting little point about linguistics. So you'll see Ivar Asen on all of the bottles that you'll get from Kinn Bryggeri. So quite an interesting little point there, and it's quite cool that they pay tribute to the kind of Norwegian heritage, if you like, there. The Scandinavian history really is quite interesting. But if you go and check out the brewery website, you'll see they've got a good range of different beers. So in the English range, they've got the Pilgrim, which is an English bitter, Dampen, which is a California common, Vestkist, which is an IPA, Sjælfred, which is a brown ale, Prestesonen, which is a dark beer, Svart Hav, which is a stout, and also Svart Kunst, which is an imperial stout as well. That one is rated really highly on Rate Beer. And in the Belgian range, they've got the Jubileum, which is a wit beer, the Slatool, which is a saison, the Bovelen, which is a trip ale, and in their seasonal range, they have this guy here, which is the Rosa Kinn, fruit beer, like I said, there is, and the Jolefred as well, and apparently that's the Christmas beer, and that changes a little bit every year. So as I say, if you're interested, go and check out the brewery website. It is mainly in Norwegian, but there is a little English tab at the top. I got most of my information from an article, so I'll try and share that for you in the description below as well. So as I say, go and have a read and have a look at the links of the brewery if you are interested. But a very interesting and quite upcoming brewery in Norway, very new, 2009 like I said, but go and read about it more if you are interested. So without further ado, let's get into the tasting section of this video. So as I said, there's Ivar Asen on the artwork on this one there. You can see he's enjoying a nice glass of Rosa Kinn as well. So this one, apparently, I've read that this beer tastes like raspberries, so really quite interested to try this one actually. There is the Kinn Bryggeri bottle cap on top of this one, and all the beers are sold in either 30 litre kegs or in 750ml bottles, but apparently they do have a new bottling line which allows them to do 330ml as well. But this was the one that they had in my local System Bolaget, so should be quite an interesting one. It comes in at 4.7%, and as I say, it is meant to be a fruit beer and it's meant to be raspberries as well, so Should be quite an interesting one. I couldn't find a profile of this beer when I was doing the research for the channel, so I will just try and pop this guy. As you can see, this bottle cap is being a little bit troublesome. I'm not sure if this was meant to be a pop cap actually. I guess not, it's just a weird size. But anyway, let's get this guy out and into the glass then. Quite a nice pink, orangey colour, this one. So we'll just get that out and let it settle a little bit. So yeah, that's quite a big bottle cap on this one in comparison to the others. So I'll keep that one for later on. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice kind of unusual pinky amber colour. I'll just let you see that exactly. So really unusual colour, this beer. As you can see, there's a finger of a frothy white head on this, but a really quite attractive looking beer. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass on this one, but quite a few little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of the head there. And as you pour it, you really can get an interesting smell of raspberries from this beer. Really quite an interesting one. It smells quite wheaty and quite sour as well. But yeah, as you can see, the beer is not transparent at all. It is a big hazy beer, but it looks really nice. So let's have a look at this guy properly then. So yeah, as I was saying, this beer has a lot of fruity smell in it. It does smell quite like a sour beer actually. So it's a nice big fruity sour beer. You can really get a raspberry smell off this, like I was saying. The guys in the System blog told me that this beer smelled like it tasted like raspberries, but it was more like a sour beer. And I went and had a wee read about it as well, and other folk were saying it did taste like raspberries too. But yeah, it's got a very fruity nose on it, this one. As I was saying, a good bit of raspberry coming out. But that's only a more mild component of it actually. There's some other kind of fruits in there. It's a bit of a kind of candied fruit and a sort of sharp citrusy tart lemon that's coming off this one. But underneath that you can pick up a kind of grainy bready character and a bit of wheat or yeast spice in there too. And I want to say that it's a little bit earthy and maybe a little bit grassy on the hop side of things as well. So a really quite interesting nose on this one. It does smell like, as I say, it smells like more of a sour beer than a fruit beer, this one, but it should be a really interesting one for us to try. So as I say, on the nose you're getting a nice bit of raspberry, some kind of candied fruits coming out too, and a sharp kind of lemony tart character, quite acidic actually from this one. But there's a grainy bready note and also some kind of wheat and yeasty spice in there too. A little bit of earthy character and some grassiness too. So very interesting beer. As I always say, give your beers a smell before you taste them. But this is the Rosa Kinn from Kinn Bryggeri in Florø in western Norway, so skål! That's really quite nice actually. Nowhere near as tart as I was expecting actually, just going by the aroma. Really does smell like a sour beer, but the tart character on it is nice, is quite nice and mild. Yeah, the tart character is there and it does come in a little bit sharp, but it smooths out to become quite a juicy fruity beer very quickly. Yeah, so initially it comes in with a little bit of sharpness and a little bit of acidity, but that smooths out very quickly to give this really kind of nice and smooth raspberry taste to the beer. It works really, really well actually. It's a really nice beer. Honestly, like normally I'm not such a great fan of fruit beers, but this one is really quite nice and quite a sessionable one. But yeah, the fruity characters in this one are it's really a kind of red berry flavour you're getting from this. I want to say raspberries, and it's got a good little bit of tart character from the raspberries too. It comes in quite tart and then it smooths out, but there is just a little bit of a sharper sort of lemony citric or slightly acidic flavour to this beer too, but that, as I say, that smooths out very quickly. You'll find that on the edge of the palate. The edge of the palate is really quite juicy and it's just a bit drier on the inside of the palate, which is quite nice. But there's some grainy and bready character in the middle of the palate too, so the centre of the palate really is blanketed by this kind of pale malt and white bready character. There's a little bit of wheaty spice in there and some yeast as well, and there is a little bit of earthy character on the back corners of the palate too, and some nice just a nice smooth grassy hop around the very edge of the tongue too. But if you move further back, it is quite juicy from the sort of berry characters. It's sort of raspberry and candied fruit flavour you're getting from this. Behind the very front curve of the tongue, you'll feel this little oily bubble of flavour coming out, and that's where the nice juicy raspberry flavours are coming out too. But yeah, as I say, normally I'm not a fan of fruit beers, but this one is really quite a nice beer actually. I would definitely try this again. If I saw it on tap actually, I'd be really interested to try it and see what it's like. But yeah, that's a really nice fruit beer actually. This is one, as I say, a style that I'm not so keen on normally, but this one could convince me to go and try a few more of them. It's actually really nice and very refreshing, an ideal summer beer. And I think it is actually the summer seasonal beer that they do, so a good effort from Kinn Bryggeri, I have to say. But yeah, in the middle of the palate you actually get a little bit of dryness after it. So in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, it is quite light-bodied, maybe pushing the mid-bodied one actually, but probably more of a light-bodied beer. There's a moderate carbonation to it, but it smooths out quite nicely. There's a good bit of a sharp kind of tarty fruit character as the beer comes in, but it smooths out to be a really nice juicy beer later on. And there is a little bit of a kind of spicy malt character to this. As I was saying, a little bit of a wheaty and yeasty bready character in the middle of the palate, but it becomes a little bit dry as you move into the latter part of the aftertaste, and that's where some of the kind of acidic and citrusy fruits are coming out too. But there's a nice balance there between the juiciness and the dry character of this beer. So overall, it's actually a very, very nice one. I would definitely recommend that you try this out, particularly if you do like sour beers. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But if you're like me, and it's a style that you don't drink too often, this one is actually something that could potentially get you to enjoy the style a bit more. I always find that sometimes when you try new styles of beer, it can be a bit of an acquired taste, and this one really does make me want to explore the fruit beer style a bit more. So a really good effort from Kinn Bryggeri. So I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of this one now. But as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Really cool to visit another brewery from Norway. All of the beers I seem to find from Norway tend to be really good, but they are quite expensive, so it's quite a rare occasion for me to review a Norwegian beer for you. But I hope you've enjoyed the review nonetheless. As always, in the comment section below, please let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it. To my Norwegian viewers, please recommend a few beers for me to have a look at, and hopefully I can get a hold of them at some point, because I do like the Norwegian beers. It's just the thing about them being a bit expensive. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Until the next one, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hope you're enjoying this series of Nordic reviews that I'm doing for you, and hopefully there's many more to come from Norway. Slanja just now.